Oklahoma State dressed in their home whites. Houston, they come dressed in the road black with red trim, and the Cougars control the tap. This is the first true road game of the season for Houston. The rebound, Oklahoma State, after the Roberts miss in the lane. Oklahoma State has a deep bench. Brantley, Keller, Thompson, Jennings, and Usman get the start. Thompson's runner is short. Rebound, Houston. Usual cast of characters for Houston. They were without Jawan Roberts, their preseason All Big 12 big for a couple of games. But he's back in the lineup. What does he add to this Houston five?
The veteran leadership. He knows what it takes to win. He plays extremely hard defensively. He can switch arms to guards. Jawan Roberts is a huge piece for this Houston team.
Uzan in the land of the trees with 4 on the timer. Knocked away and stolen by Usman. And this is where Oklahoma State wants to play, up and down. Steal Houston, and Cryer the finish.
But they have to take care of the basketball. That's been one of the Achilles heels of this Oklahoma State team. You have to value the basketball tonight against this good Houston Cougar defense.
Oklahoma State, one of the most up and down teams in the country. Meanwhile, Houston wants to play in the half court. Keller turning the corner, and he's fouled. And this is where Oklahoma State gets a lot of their points from the foul line. They lead the Big 12 in free throws made and free throws attempted per game, much to the dismay of Houston head coach Kelvin Sampson, who's 15 and 15 all time against Oklahoma State.
And part of that is due to Jamyron Keller's plays, averaging 10 in the last 2 games. But when you look at his body, he's extremely strong. A strong, stocky guard that puts a lot of pressure on the defense when he drives because of his strength.
6'3", 210-pound sophomore. Has started the last 2 games and averaged double figures at 10 points per game, over 50% from the field.
Defensively, he does a great job as well. I mean, he provides a lot for Steve Letts, and you're slowly starting to see this young man get more and more confident as he's getting more and more minutes.
Oklahoma State shot a ton of free throws at their practice today. Keller starts 2 for 2. Houston is the nation's 2nd winningest team since 2017. Only Gonzaga's had a better record. Half hook from Roberts, and he's left too short in the lane. Lead pass, Jennings has it pinned, a block.
JoJo Tugler getting back. They specifically worked on that. Oklahoma State wants to push the tempo. They want to push the pace. And JoJo Tugler has to get back, just like we saw him do, to get that block.
Uzan, runner, pops out. Rebound batted around, and the Cowboys have it.
Yeah, so far, Oklahoma State has done a really good job not allowing Houston to get second shots. They are blocking out, and that is one of the emphasis that was in shoot-around with Steve Letts.
Thompson's open for a 3 offline. Both of these teams rebound it well. Both teams +6 per game in rebounding margin as Tugler gets left all alone for the gimme.
You have to get back in transition right there. Way too easy. This Houston team is way too good to give up easies like that.
Thompson curling. Double comes, finds the open man. It's Usman with the bucket at the rim.
Usman is picking up where he left off. 19 and 7 last game. Look for them to try to get the ball to him early on in the shot clock and let him go to work down low.
Both teams coming off of long layovers. It's been 8 days for Oklahoma State and 9 for Houston. Tugler. Roberts. Cryer knifing. Tugler at the rim has it denied by Jennings. It is physical on the inside.
Well, that's what you expect, especially when Big 12 play starts. Every single game moving forward will be physical. Expect the dogfight.
Jennings puts it on the floor. Double pump, and he draws a foul. This will be the second trip to the line for Oklahoma State here in the early minutes.
James, I think that's one of the areas in which Jennings has gotten so much better. Putting the ball on the floor, he doesn't have a lot of wiggle to his game, but he's a straight line driver that can drive it from the perimeter to create plays and create fouls like we just saw.
A transfer from Texas Tech. He started the final month of the season for the Red Raiders last season. Former four-star recruit out of high school, and Oklahoma State has grabbed their first lead. It's 5-4. And a line change for the Cowboys. They bring in 2 new players off the bench. They really go about 10 deep. They have 10 players that average between 11 and 24 minutes per game.
I think this right here is one of their better offensive groups. Jennings at the 5 can step out and shoot the 3, but Martellus Avery, watch him. He is very aggressive on the offensive side. Oklahoma State's leading scorer. He has to have a big night tonight.
Chi Avery, number 0 in the white jersey. Cryer, leaner, sputters off, and Oklahoma State's been good on the glass. Pushing the pace. Thompson, blow by, runner short. Francis with the board for the Cougars. Houston tops in the nation in field goal percentage defense and scoring defense. Points will come at a premium for Oklahoma State. Cougars have missed some layups on this end. Another one there. A jump ball, and it's Oklahoma State in possession. At our first media timeout, it's a dogfight already. Oklahoma State 6, Houston 4 here in Stillwater.
To easy offense, and that's one thing that let's emphasize in shoot-around. We have to get stops. How do you get stops? You have to get the rebound. We cannot allow Houston to get second shots. That's what he kept reiterating to his team. You do that, you get out and play at the tempo that you want to play at.
Turning the corner. Oklahoma State loses it out of bounds. It'll stay on this end with the Cowboys. Oklahoma State is 5-0 at home this season. They have not started 6-0 since the 2017 campaign. Under first-year head coach Steve Lutz. Drive and kick, deep in the shot clock. Keller from the top. A rebound, Francis for the Cougs. Houston's won 4 straight after starting 4-3 in the non-conference. And a whistle and a foul on the inside away from the ball caught on Martellus Avery. That is his first personal. First Oklahoma State team foul. Houston has only scored on 2 of their first 9 possessions. What's Oklahoma State done to bother them defensively?
Well, one thing about their defense is they speed you up. You know, we talk about Houston's defense and how great it is. Well, Oklahoma State has a similar style of pressuring the basketball, not allowing easy catches on the wing, getting their hands in passing lane, getting deflections like we just saw right there. But I got a deflection myself.
You got hands on that rock.
Yeah, I saw it coming towards you. I didn't want to get hit. But this is a great job right here. Ball goes down. Turn your back. Way to put your hand in there, get the steal, get the deflection, and look, yeah, I got one too right there.
You get your hands on that, I'm setting a mean screen right there, King. All right, turnovers, Houston, they never turn it over. Only 9 per game, that's top 10 in the country. And then Oklahoma State defensively, top 35. They force almost 16 per game.
Well, if you're Houston, this is what you expect from a veteran team. A team who has players who have been in a lot of Division I games. They don't beat themselves.
These teams have started cold from the field. Oklahoma State 1 for 7, Houston 2 for 9. It's low scoring. 2-man game. Roberts to the well, and he puts it through.
That's where Jawan Roberts makes his money right there. Right shoulder, he's left-handed, loves to go to the right shoulder. If you're Martellus Avery, you have to take that off immediately and force him the other way.
Avery, lock and load. Can't hit the 3. He started 0 for 2.
One thing about Avery, he is going to keep shooting. He leads the team in scoring for a reason. A lot of talent in this young man.
Oklahoma State has missed their first 4 threes And on the inside, Roberts, all muscle, back-to-back baskets.
Avery did a good job that time. He forced them the other direction, and if your coach lets, you are living with that. Took away his primary go-to move, forced him to his secondary move. If he makes it, so be it.
Oklahoma State does not want to play in the half court. High off the glass, tough one from Arturo Dean. The transfer from FIU, known for his defense, but that was pretty.
Pretty layup right there. Fade away, nice touch on it. Got away from the shot blocker and JoJo Tugler. High-level finish right there.
Tugler. 8 to shoot. Uzan from the top, and he hits the dot.
That's one area where Uzan has gotten so much better. He looks comfortable and confident from behind the arc this year.
Oklahoma State gets it quickly up the floor, and they miss another three. They've started 0 for 5. Oklahoma State wants to shoot within 10 seconds off the shot clock each and every time down the floor. Missed Houston three. Here come the pokes. Dean right to the rack. And it's blocked out of bounds. It'll stay with Oklahoma State on this end. But Juwan Roberts offensively, a quick 4 for Houston.
Now let's take a look at this right here. One-on-one. Marcellus Avery has to take away this right shoulder. Doesn't do it in the first possession, but one mistake cannot lead to two. This time he takes away that right shoulder, makes him go the opposite direction. He just knocks down a tough bucket over the backside help. Good adjustment right there from Avery. Better offense from Juwan Roberts.
Oklahoma State has started 2 for 11 from the field. In the lane, a tough fall away and rattles home for Brandon Newman.
And Newman is a guy that can come off the bench and give you a lot of offense. He shoots the ball well. He can put it on the floor. He is a huge asset coming off the bench for Lutz.
Oklahoma State has a lot of guys, including Newman, averaging anywhere from 6 to 8 points per game. 10 on the shot clock for Houston. Arsenault lost the handle. Third Houston turnover. Timeout on the floor. Oklahoma State trailing by 1, hanging around because of plays like this.
Brandon Newman, he understands the recipe for it.
Oklahoma State wants to play extremely fast. Their goal is to get a shot up 10 seconds or less into the shot clock. And right there on cue, our third lead change already. Brandon Newman spotting for 3 and hitting. Houston has scored on just 5 of their first 15 possessions. 10 on the shot, in the lane, scraping away at the basketball. It's out of bounds. It'll stay on this end with 8 to shoot.
And James, that's just a perfect example of how Lutz wants to get after you defensively. Whenever you are big and you are dribbling the ball, you are trying to post up, you have to know that a guard is coming to swipe down at the basketball. So you have to be able to see and locate the open man with your eyes first.
Patrick Sumnick has checked in for Oklahoma State, number 24 in white. Transfer from West Virginia, had a huge game against Kansas last year. 20 points and 6 rebounds. 5 to shoot. Leaner from Tugler's off the heel, trying to tap it to himself and keep it alive. And Oklahoma State on the control. Sumnick with a run out. It's blocked. Newman's there to clean it up. Newman has Oklahoma State's last 7 points.
Right there, a hustle play. Great defense turns into easy offense. They convert in the first 5 seconds of the shot clock. That is how fast. That is the tempo that we continuously talk about. Let's take a look at this right here. Right here, good hustle play by Newman, following up and just getting an easy put back. That is how fast that they want to go.
Is that unique? Coaches wanting to get shots up that quickly into an offense. What does that do for Oklahoma State, how they want to play?
Well, it puts pressure on the defense. Know that you have to get back. Because typically every coach puts an emphasis on transition defense. However, when you're playing Oklahoma State, you have to put extra emphasis on it because they play faster than the average team. And when you look at Lutz's team last year at Western Kentucky, I mean, that's what they did. They led the country in tempo, and they played extremely fast. They got out and ran. That is how he wants to play. That is how he had success.
Oklahoma State's on a 7-0 run. And another whistle off the ball called on Sumnick of Oklahoma State. But look at this transition attack from the Cowboys.
You get it out, especially when you get Khalil Brantley or Arturo Dean right there, able to get it out in transition. Good cleanup. They know that it's a potential chance that the player is going to miss a layup, so they follow it up. Good job by Sumnick.
Tugler floats it home.
JoJo Tugler is going to be special. His defensive instincts, offensively, he's starting to grow and progress. I think JoJo Tugler has so much potential, even enough potential to be an NBA player one day.
Just a sophomore for Houston. Houston on the break after an Oklahoma State miscue, and Sharp in the scoring column for the first time. It comes with that layup. Sumnick wasn't ready for the pass, and Oklahoma State getting a little sloppy on this end of the floor. Both teams have turned it over 3 times in this first half. Roberts one-on-one with Jennings. Spins to the block, and that is pretty.
I think that is where Juwan Roberts has gotten so much better. When you take away his left hand, take away his right shoulder, he can spin back and go over either shoulder.
Roberts pacing to become just the 4th Houston player with over 1,000 points and 1,000 rebounds for their career. And he has his 3rd board. Houston's on a 6-0 burst.
And I like this right here. Get the ball to Roberts. Make Oklahoma State double so he can kick out.
Banging with Jennings, forced to that one. And the rebound collected by Newman for Oklahoma State. Newman's had the hot hand for the Pokes. He has a team-high 7, and a foul called on JoJo Tugler on the edge of the logo. Juwan Roberts for Houston, 6 points, 4 rebounds, preseason all-league, 124 wins, most in program history. Named the most improved player a couple of seasons ago back in the American.
He just understands success. He understands how they want to win, how Kelvin Sampson wants to play. He knows what to do when the game gets close. He's just the ultimate winner, especially on this level.
Deep in the shot clock. Jennings off balance. Beats the buzzer, but it's blocked, and it's a shot clock violation. That is Houston tough.
That is a great example of who Houston is on the defensive side of things. They contest everything. They make it extremely tough. And if you get into a half-court game, you typically don't see success. You want to speed this game up if you're Oklahoma State. You want to take away a half-court offense and play in transition.
Houston led by Kelvin Sampson, last year's Big 12 Coach of the Year. One of just 16 active head coaches to take multiple schools to Final Fours. Brantley after the steal, lost it on the way up, out of bounds. It's another Oklahoma State turnover. That is their 5th in this first half. Takes us to a media timeout. We are deadlocked at 17, a frenetic pace.
Deep. You look at who they bring off the bench, and their leading scorer, Marcellus Avery, comes off the bench. But when I'm looking at this stat sheet, the number one thing that I see is the second chance points. Oklahoma State winning that battle, 6-0 in second chance points, typically an area where Houston does not lose. How will they make the adjustment?
Pryor hunting his shot. He's only taken 2 in this first half. Sharp and Pryor, the 2 leading scorers for Houston, with a combined 4. That barely scraped the rim from Francis. Thompson in the lane, hanging, he can't hit. And the rebound, Roberts. Who would you say is winning the tempo battle so far?
Well, right now, I would say that Oklahoma State is. They've been able to get out in transition. They've been able to run. They've done a really good job of forcing their pace.
Ball's knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with Houston on this end. Just over 7 minutes to go before halftime. It's a low-scoring battle, tied at 17. Dead even in rebounding at 11 apiece. Oklahoma State has turned it over 5 times, Houston 4. It's been a physical first 13+ minutes. Oklahoma State with another steal. 5th Houston turnover. Keller splits the defense, can't score. Arsenault. Tugler up and under. Rebound Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has not made a field goal in over 4 minutes. Thompson double comes and he throws it away. Arsenault. Cryer rises up. He can't connect. Thompson's on the floor. Roberts from the scrum finishes off the window. He's up to a game-high 8 points. Also has 6 rebounds, and Houston's on a quiet 8-0 extended run.
LJ Cryer has been extremely quiet. Probably got fouled on that jumper. Got touched on the face. But Jawan Roberts, being where he's supposed to be, cleans it up.
Offensive foul called on Oklahoma State.
Let's take a look at this last play right here. LJ Cryer probably got hit in the face, maybe a foul. Nonetheless, Bryce Thompson, just hold on to the basketball. No need to throw it. But Jawan Roberts just being at the right place at the right time. Patient down low, pump fake, good bucket.
Houston returns 4 of their 5 starters from a team that made it to the second round of the NCAA tournament a season ago. Got to the Sweet 16, I should say. Almost to the Elite 8. Won the Big 12 regular season title, went 15-3, but they did start 0-2 their first couple of games on the road in league action. Another Oklahoma State miss. They haven't scored now in over 5 minutes. Cryer sliding left, launching a 3, and he cans it.
Such an aware play. Saw the defender flying out at him. Pump fake, side dribble. That's what great shooters do, and LJ Cryer is a great shooter.
Plays under control at all times. A veteran player who earned his bachelor's degree back in May, carrying a 3.8 GPA. 10 on the shot clock for Oklahoma State. Usman, he's fouled. Is he the guy that has to take over for Oklahoma State when they need a basket?
Hey, he's one of them. I mean, right now, in the half court, that's where they struggle the most. So their most efficient offense is getting Usman the ball, and right there, he takes it straight through the chest of Tugler. Tugler's such a great shot blocker. If you allow Tugler to pinpoint the basketball, to high point the ball, he's probably going to block it 8 times out of 10. So what does Usman do? He goes straight through the chest, forces Tugler to bring his hands down. Automatic foul.
Second foul on Joseph Tugler. Free throw spits out from Usman. He had made 12 straight free throws prior to that miss. Started the season 54% from the line. He's up to 75% for the year. Splits the pair, and that ends an 11-0 run over the last 5.5 minutes for Houston. Uzan terminates his dribble. Houston a long way from the cylinder, and they throw it away. Sharp gets it back.
We've seen that a few times by Oklahoma State. They get the deflections, but give it right back to Houston. They have to take care of the ball.
Shot clock did not reset. A prayer from Uzan's off the mark, and it's to Oklahoma State. Wild sequence on this end of the floor.
When you get those turnovers, if you're Oklahoma State, you cannot give it away immediately. We've seen that 2 or 3 times tonight. They'd rather call a timeout or get a jump ball than to create live ball turnovers, which leads to Houston getting easy buckets like we saw Jawan Roberts have one earlier.
Oklahoma State on this end of the floor, they have 7 turnovers. They've made 6 field goals, shooting 27% in this first half. Avery, the Cowboys' leading scorer, misses the reverse layup. And it's out of bounds. It'll stay with Oklahoma State on this end. Houston on an 11-1 run as we hit a timeout.
LJ Cryer, sidestep 3, who can get hot any moment or any game like we're seeing tonight. To bring him off your bench, same thing with Chichi Avery. You need to have these guys, bring them off your bench, and your scoring goes up. That is a luxury for Steve Lutz.
Newman is 3 for 4 from the field. The rest of the Oklahoma State team 3 for 19. Trying to beat the shot clock. And he doesn't get it off. 8th Oklahoma State turnover. What has Houston done defensively to force 8 turnovers in the last 7 minutes?
Well, it's the physicality. And I think that when you look at Jawan Roberts, you look at Francis, you look at Tugler, the bigs of Houston do as good of a job as anybody in the country in staying in front of guards, not allowing guards to blow by them and not relying on your help. They do a tremendous job sliding their feet on the perimeter.
3 and change left in this first half. Uzan, runner, that's nice, off the window.
That's something that they work on in their shoot-arounds, in their warm-ups, getting to that paint area, rising up over the top, shooting that floater. Milos Uzan, so skilled.
Houston's on a 13-1 run over the last 7 minutes. Oklahoma State without a field goal in almost 8 minutes. Rising up from just inside the arc, wanting a foul. Newman doesn't get it, and it's 1 and done for the Pokes.
Have to look down low.
Oklahoma State in a matchup zone. They lose. Francis at the rim has it denied. Then a foul called off the ball on Oklahoma State's Robert Jennings.
Look at the outside block right here. Robert Jennings picked up the foul, but look at this. To rotate over, meet him at the rim. That's just a high-level play. 2 high-level athletes colliding at the rim. That's Big 12 basketball right there.
There's been 4 combined blocks in this game. Uzan resets out high. 10 to shoot for the Cougars. Roberts has been their leading scorer in this first half, using the left, and that is a soft, feathery touch.
And James, that's so tough. Marcellus Avery right there, sitting on the right shoulder. However, Roberts uses the chicken wing and still gets to it. Good touch around the rim. Jawan Roberts is having himself a night.
Houston's on a 15-1 run, and they have their largest lead of the night.
Look where Avery's sitting. Avery was sitting on the right shoulder, but he still somehow got to it. Look at him. He's playing on the high side, used the chicken wing to get around, and that is all Jawan Roberts needs. Needs a little bit of an angle to go against the bigs of Houston because of what they can do, not only on the offensive side, but defensively as well.
Oklahoma State in desperate need of some points. They've made just 1 of their last 9 shots. Avery spinning, doesn't get the whistle, and Roberts is there to clean the glass.
And once again, one-on-one, we see the defense right there. Jawan Roberts able to stay in front of Avery, a guy who, once again, is Oklahoma State's leading scorer. That is good perimeter defense.
Oklahoma State pacing for their fewest first-half points of the year. 8 to shoot for Houston. Francis with it, the big out high, searching. Uzan one-on-one against Brantley, using the left, and Uzan is up to 7 points.
Uzan is so skilled. One of the best players in the country when it comes to using his offhand when bigs are coming to rotate over to protect the rim. He can finish with either hand. He's such a skilled point guard. Let's take a look at this right here. Shot clock running down, away from the paint, trying to get away from the shot blocker. Such a pretty high-level finish right there by a high-level guard.
And he's gotten better as the season has progressed. Over his last 3 games, 15 assists, only 2 turnovers. He's starting to score the ball more. And remember, he came in with a lot of pressure. When you're replacing an All-American in Jamal Shead, you're the one guy coming back with 4 returning starters. That's a lot to ask for him.
I mean, not just that, but being a point guard for Kelvin Sampson is not easy. He demands, he requires a lot. And when you look at guys like Shead, or guys who have played the point guard role at Houston, they've typically been able to sit out a year, learn that position, and then when it's their time, they're ready to go. Milos Hughes got thrown into the fire from the jump. So it's an adjustment period, and I think that he's slowly starting to figure it out.
48 seconds left in this first half. 13 to shoot for Oklahoma State. Houston's on a 17-1 run over the last 9.5 minutes. 10 on the shot clock. Keller one-on-one rises up. Wide left, and there's 3 black jerseys there to gobble up the rebound.
If you're Oklahoma State, part of the issue right now is that you're not getting stops. You're not getting those easy transition buckets that you were getting early on in the game. Now you're forced to play in the half court, and they have not had success. Houston will wear you down if you make it a half court battle.
Pryor curling. Pryor losing his footing. 6 to shoot. Uzan, can he do it again? Uzan, step back. Lost it on the way up, and a shot clock violation forced by the Cowboys defense. 6th Houston turnover. But the bigger story, Oklahoma State hasn't scored in 4.5 minutes.
Because Houston has turned this game into a half-court battle. They have slowed the tempo down and controlled the pace. That's how they're up by 10 right now.
Brantley, a 3, beating the buzzer. It's short, and that's how we end the first half. Oklahoma. Houston in the midst of a program record 9 straight 20-plus win seasons and 6 straight NCAA tournament appearances. Houston has the ball, dressed in the road black and red to start this second half, leading by 10.
And Lutz made a big decision right here. You put Jamarian Keller at the 3 and starting Dean and Brantley. They want to play faster. They want to get in transition. They are smaller. They have to focus on blocking out. But can this help them push the tempo and get back to what they did at the beginning of the game? Roberts,
nice pass. 3's off the mark from Uzan in the corner, and here come the Cowboys off and running. Dean out of bounds to the Cougars.
That is the advantage that they will have. Dean and Brantley are probably 2 of the fastest guards in all of the Big 12. You can get stops, you can rebound, you can block out. Those 2 guys with Jamarian Keller will be able to get out in transition and get easies. This is the lineup in which Coach Lutz wants to run.
Dean and Brantley, both transfers from Group of 5 schools. Dean from FIU led the nation in steals last year. Brantley led LaSalle in scoring the last 2 seasons. 9 to shoot for Houston. Oklahoma State with a run and jump. Tugler's back on the floor with 2 fouls. Lost it out of bounds, and it goes to Oklahoma State. That is the 7th Houston turnover.
And that's just great defense by Usman right there. The rule of verticality, he stayed up straight. Tugler turns the ball over. Good defense right there.
But can Oklahoma State score in the half court? Slicing, they miss a layup. Jennings got a good look.
And they've gotten to the rim. Once in transition, that time in the half court, you have to convert when you get that post.
12 minutes without a field goal bridging the 2 halves together, and Roberts picking up where he left off. He's up to 12.
Dewan Roberts just having a feast down low.
Largest lead of the night for Houston, and a block. Roberts trying to keep it alive. Tugler with the rejection. This 28th of the year.
This is what makes Houston so dangerous. When Tugler is in the game, he is coming from the weak side to contest and to block everything at the rim. And if you aren't careful, you will end up getting it sent to the stands.
Tugler had 8 blocks in a game earlier this year against Alabama. The first Houston player with 8 denials in a game since 2005.
Ooh.
Dean, step back. Can't hit the shot. Keller, Brantley, it's a scrum. He's on the floor. Dean finishes in traffic.
And that's one thing about Arturo Dean. He might be small, but he is extremely tough. He is not afraid to go in there amongst the Giants.
Third team All-Conference USA last year at Florida International. Using a corner pocket three is down.
Once again, who created that play? Jawan Roberts caught it on a short roll, had the advantage in the corner by hitting it to Uzan, and Uzan just knocking it down. Jawan Roberts not only scoring, but initiating as well.
Only the third three of the game for Houston. Oklahoma State's made just one. 8 to shoot for the Pokes. Brantley out of control. Dean spots for a three. His rebuttal is there.
Only shooting 31 from 3 on the year, but he is more than capable, James. You leave him open like that, he can definitely knock it down. Look for him to have a big second half with the way he started.
Only his 5th three-point make of the season. Cryer, a runner, short. Cryer again, deeper, and he hits that one from the top.
Second shots always go in. That's what they used to preach to us at Baylor. If you allow offensive rebounds, you kick out for threes, second shots usually always go in.
It's only the third Houston offensive rebound. Leads to a Cryer three, and their lead is 13. Double comes on Jennings. From the top, Keller way off the mark. It's an air bank. Keller to the rack. Tugler walled him up. Cryer. Rebound, Usman. Oklahoma State trying so badly to increase the tempo, but they turn it over. That is their 10th miscue. .13 Houston lead. Much to the dismay of Oklahoma State head coach Steve Lutz. And on the other side, Kelvin Sampson was ballistic. 8 shades of red.
Well, the Houston coaches thought it was a media timeout because they're at 16:02. So they're on the floor, and Coach Sampson is yelling, hey, get off the floor, get off the floor. That's how you get a technical foul. So, I mean, yeah, 16:02 is close. Sometimes some referees allow it to turn into the media timeout. But it was just a big miscommunication at the end of the day.
Next dead ball will send us to our first media timeout. Cryer is heating up for Houston.
That is tough. Getting to his mid-range, getting cut off initially, being able to pivot and rise up over the top. Definitely an area where L.J. Cryer has improved.
Houston expands on their largest lead of the night. It's up to 15, and a Houston steal. Sharp fires a three. Uzan's left alone. Out of bounds to Oklahoma State. A frenetic pace here in the second half as we reach our first media timeout. Houston. Jawan Roberts has been the guy we all thought he would be for Houston tonight. His third double-double of the season, 12 points and 10 rebounds, and a foul called on Houston. Now, a big part of Oklahoma State's offense is built around getting to the free throw line, but they've only attempted 6 free throws in this contest. How has Houston kept them off the strike?
You know, I think that's one of the most impressive things about this Houston defense is their ability to be able to be physical, to put pressure on you, to cause havoc, but do it without fouling. They don't really play with their hands. I mean, they do it away from the basketball. That's the biggest thing. They do their work early, like you like to call it.
Avery has his first points of the contest. Oklahoma State's leading scorer at 13 per game.
He has to get going. Marcellus Avery, Bryce Thompson for Oklahoma State. Both of these guys have to turn it up in the second half if they want to climb back in this ball game.
Third three of the night for the Cowboys. It's a 12-point cushion for Houston. Cryer, his man flies by him, elevates, left it short. It was flat, and there's Avery with the board. Brantley one-on-one with Uzan. Leans in. And Arsenault claims it for Houston. Arsenault, lock and load three, pops out. Rebound batted around, and a foul called on Houston, their second in this half. Third foul issued to Joseph Tugler, the shot-blocking machine for the Cougar defense.
I like this sub right here. Put Brandon Newman in the game. He came in the game in the first half. He was instant offense and provided a spark. Can he do the same thing in the second half? I would go to him, or right now, Marcellus Avery. He just hit one. You know he can get hot. One of those two guys has to get going.
Avery has not started a game all season, prefers to come off the bench, averages 13 points per game. Thompson getting into the lane, and how many bunnies has Oklahoma State blown at the rim?
That's about 6 to 8 points that we've seen, to where it'd be a completely different game, James, if they finish at the rim.
And Houston perfectly fine killing some clock and running their offense. Jumping a passing lane, Dean with the steal. 2-on-1, Avery with the hammer.
Credit the steal and the assist to Arturo Dean.
That is Arturo Dean at his best. Getting into the passing lane last year, leading the country in steals. He is elite at getting in the passing lanes, getting layups, and finding his teammates.
It's a 10-point game. Houston on top. Francis in trouble. 8 on the shot clock. Wilson probing. Uzan relocating, missing a three. It barely nicked the front lip. Avery thought about the three from the top. Thompson loses his dribble. Collected by a Cowboy. Cross-court skip pass into the crowd. It'll stay on this end with 9 to shoot.
Let's take a look at this play by Arturo Dean. He reads the offensive player's eyes as well as anybody in the country. And what do? You reward your big fella for running with you. Marcellus Avery just throwing it down.
This Oklahoma State team, the way they play defense, it's not quite press Virginia. How is it different from what we used to see from West Virginia?
Well, it's not full court, but it's very similar principles in the half court. They jump the passing lanes. They sit on top of you on the high side. They try to cause as many turnovers like we saw a West Virginia team, just not in the full court.
A quick 2 for Houston. Uzan with the finish. 12-point lead for the Cougars. Dean one-on-one. Draws a crowd and a whistle. We've hit the under 12. Oklahoma State's Arturo Dean will be at the stripe when we come back. It's a 12-point lead for Houston on the road.
You play against these guys. They're extremely hard to play against, and they just make you uncomfortable and speed you up at all times.
Dean at the line for 2 for Oklahoma State. And that first one is wide right. Oklahoma State is a team 5 for 7 from the stripe. They lead the Big 12 in free throws made and attempted per game. They're 6th in the country in free throws made. Dean has 6 points here in this second half to lead Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State with some token pressure. Trying to increase the tempo. They want to play fast. Arsenault turns it over. And Houston's at their average for the season. That's their 9th turnover of the contest.
And you know what? Defensively, Oklahoma State really hasn't been bad. They've actually been really, really solid defensively. Their problem is offensively, they have not been able to score the basketball consistently.
Houston's been able to turn this into a half-court game. Brantley behind the back. Jennings. Rebound. Pinballing out of bounds. rebounds, and it's Houston basketball. Oklahoma State's had some good looks from beyond the arc, just haven't been able to knock them down.
Yeah, they've had good looks from deep. They've gotten to their spots close to the rim. They've missed a few bunnies. I mean, right there, that's about 11 points they've left on the table.
Another Houston blunder. Their 4th turnover of the half. Brantley fires a 3. It's way off the mark.
And I think Brantley made the wrong decision right there. In the transition break, he had
collision out of bounds.
He had Newman to the right. Should have hit to Newman, but instead hit to Devo Davis, a guy who has not shot the 3 well and not really been scoring the ball. He should have hit Newman in the right corner.
Yeah, that whole sequence felt really rushed from Oklahoma State.
It's not a good decision right there. If you're Brantley, you have to be able to see both sides of the floor. Newman in the corner, he's gotten hot. He's the better 3-point shooter. You have to get the ball in where it needs to go.
Malik Wilson at the line for Houston, coming off a game-high 11 rebounds against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Last time out for Houston, that was 9 days ago. That was the first free throw of the game for Houston.
I think both teams doing a good job of being aggressive without fouling.
Houston's lead is back up to 13.
I think right here with this lineup on the floor, Avery and Newman have to be ultra aggressive. Devo Davis has not been aggressive this season, but Newman and Avery, they have to find ways to get them in the offense.
Nobody has reached double figures for Oklahoma State, and a player control foul called on Devontae Devo Davis. The transfer from Arkansas, still trying to find his way at his new Big 12 school. He originally committed to Oklahoma State as a junior in high school before heading to Arkansas to start his career.
And James, I don't love that call right there. Devo Davis drove. He accidentally poked the guy in the eye. He didn't push off. His hand just happened to poke the guy in the eye. I don't love that call right there. I don't think that's an offensive foul.
Goes down as the 12th Oklahoma State turnover. Roberts working on Davis, leans in on the former All-SEC defensive team member, continues to fight and powers it in.
His second jump is so impressive. When he misses the first, he is as good as anybody in the country, following his shot and getting the ball right back to where it needs to go in his second jump.
Newman. And a foul called on Houston. It'll be on Tugler, and that's going to be number 4 on the Houston big.
And that's the one thing about Tugler. He's so aggressive on the defensive side. He plays so hard that sometimes he gets into foul trouble. Once he's able to control that, once he's able to maintain his fouls and have that same level of physicality and aggression without fouling, I think this team goes to a different level because he can stay on the floor.
Newman a 3, rattles it home. Third 3 of the half for the Cowboys.
I think he is one of their answers because he can knock it down from deep. When he's on the floor, you have to respect his 3-point shot, so therefore the spacing automatically becomes better.
Hit 51 threes at Western Kentucky a season ago for Coach Lutz. Eight to shoot. Roberts gives it up. Sharp has been quiet. This would be a big one. It's short. And Newman the rebound for Oklahoma State. 12-point Houston lead. Oklahoma State can get it to single digits with a 3. Usman double cups. Newman the 3. Rebound Francis.
But that's what you want. That is exactly what you want. Usman drew 2, kicked out. You got a decent look from Newman. That's good offense right there by Oklahoma State.
How has Houston been able to take Usman out of this game, though? Just 3 points.
They make him catch it higher. They meet him at the free throw line. They make him catch it in the mid-post area. When you force him out, it's way hard. When he gets low post position, gets by the charge circle, oh, that's where he does his dirty work.
What a pass. And a double-fisted dunk for Francis. That's a 5-point swing, a missed three and a jam. Baseline miss at the rim. Usman, he's fouled.
On the rebound.
Take a look at this right here. Good pass, good cut from Uzan. Averaging 5 assists a game. He's done a tremendous job being that initial playmaker for Houston. And you know, so many times they talk about him having to replace Jamal Shead. I don't think he has to replace Jamal Shead. I just think he has to be himself. He has to be himself and learn what it feels like to win in a Houston jersey. Because he didn't win a lot in Oklahoma. But I think it's a different level.
Timeout on the floor. We've hit the under 8. 46-32. Houston with the lead. They've led by as many as 15 tonight, in control.
Look at guys like Juwan Roberts who understand what it takes to win. When Sharp is not having a great night, Juwan Roberts can step up. They have other guys who can pick up the slack, especially when it comes to scoring.
Newman and Dean have combined for 18 of Oklahoma State's 32. Newman pulls up. Tap out. Offensive rebound. Trying to get it back to Usman. Roberts throws it off his midsection out of bounds. And that's Houston basketball. What a heads-up play by Juwan Roberts.
Look at this hustle play right here. First off, he gets the deflection on the post-up play. Doesn't allow Usman to get a clean catch. The hustle, about to go out of bounds. The awareness to know where Usman is, to throw it off of his body and not step out of bounds. That is winning basketball right there.
That's why he is the winningest student athlete in program history. He's won 124 games at Houston. Only 22 losses. Became the all-time winningest student athlete December 7th with Houston's win over Butler. And now the clock is a Houston ally.
Because Houston plays so slow on the offensive side, it's hard to come back in games when you have a little bit of a deficit because of their tempo of play.
Roberts draws the foul. He'll toe the line for a pair. Trying to add to his 14 points. He's 7 for 11 from the field. This is only the second trip to the foul line for Houston all night long. They're just 2 for 2. The lefty connects. A new season high for Juwan Roberts. He's up to 15 points. This game was 17-11. Oklahoma State held the lead at the 10:24 mark of the first half. And they've had several long scoring droughts tonight. They went without a field goal, bridging the two halves together over 12 minutes. Hard pass and a dunk for Usman.
That's a great find right there by Brantley. Got separation off the ball screen, located the tag, good pass.
Oklahoma State needs stops on this end. Chin to shoot. Double comes. Wilson, a three is an air ball, hoisted out of bounds.
Let's take a look at this right here. Just a good pass. The backside tag is supposed to slide over to take that away. Brantley locates the open man. Usman, they're sipping.
Brantley second on the team with 31 dimes this year. Avery trying to steer away from that double team, throws up a wild shot, and Houston's all over it.
And Coach Lutz is not happy right now. Marcellus Avery should have shot that shot in the corner, but instead he gets a forced layup that he ends up missing. Coach Lutz is not happy with that. If you're Marcellus Avery, you have to be able to knock those down, and that's part of the reason why they are down by 14. Can they climb back?
19-17, and they have not looked back. 6 minutes for Oklahoma State to mount a comeback. Roberts, another one, the lefty. A season high, 18 points.
He's so tough to guard. One-on-one, he can get a bucket. You bring the double, he can pass out. He's a mismatch problem in that mid-post area.
And the 3 starting guards for Oklahoma State have combined to go 0 for 15 from the floor. Avery from the top. Houston enjoying their largest lead of the night.
And Marcellus Avery, he takes a tough 3, but passes up the easy ones when he catches it in rhythm. He has to be able to take the first initial look and stop making it harder for himself.
He has 5 points on 2 of 8 shooting. And he just got called for a foul. This might be a tee.
Technical foul of the Cowboys, 0-2.
It is a technical foul called on Marcellus Avery, his second.
4th team foul.
4th team foul, and Cryer knocks down the free throw. Frustrations may be starting to mount for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and you're on your home floor. You're not able to really get anything going on the offensive side. I think Avery felt like he was fouled on the possession before. So he probably said something. You just have to be smarter than that. When you're playing in the Big 12, we played in it last year when he was at UCF. Not every night is going to go your way. You just have to figure it out.
Now, were you a talker when you played at Baylor?
Oh, man, I didn't talk.
Pretty quiet?
I was pretty quiet, unless you said something to me. So once you said something to me, okay, now we're going to go back and forth. But I was real chill. You know, I was the guy on there that was, talking to the team. Like, all right, cool. Like, what are y'all about to run? Like, well, what play are y'all running?
Yeah.
And sometimes, they would tell me. Sometimes they wouldn't. But I was real cool on the floor. I was real chill.
Trying to get in their heads. I like that.
Yeah, I was competitive, but we're all basketball players. We're all here for the same thing. We're all trying to win.
I love that.
Were you a trash talker in high school?
Oh, of course. So much trash. You know me, King. 4.5 minutes to go in this one.
You know what? I can actually see that. I can actually see you being a trash. I can see you being a trash talker.
I was quiet as a mouse. Didn't say a word. It's trying to stay on the floor.
I feel that one. I feel that one.
18-point lead for Houston at the 4:32 mark. Oklahoma State loves to get Bryce Thompson looks off of these inbounds plays, but he's on the bench. He's only logged 11 minutes tonight.
He struggled, and I think that's the one thing that I would have to say about his game. The one critique is the inconsistency. In big games, Bryce Thompson has to produce. He has to play well, and too many times it's up and down. He has to be more consistent. That's the one thing they're going to need moving forward is Bryce Thompson's consistency on the offensive side.
Third 3 of the night for L.J. Cryer. He has blown this game wide open. Houston by 21, their largest lead of the night. Timeout, Oklahoma State.
We talk about consistency. Well, this young man right here has been nothing but that this year. L.J. Cryer
he's worried about his team improving on a weekly basis, and they've shown it tonight.
I think that's how you have to view it. You can look at those 3 losses that they had early. You can get down. What's the point right now? The only time it matters is in March.
Jennings on the block, and a foul called on Houston. And it's on Tugler, and that'll be his 5th. So he's disqualified at the 3:45 mark here in the second half. Francis will enter the lineup, and Jennings at the line for Oklahoma State. Okay, so what's the next step for Houston? This has been an impressive test that they have passed with flying colors. Where do they go from here?
Well, you talked to Coach Kevin Sampson earlier, and he talked about the consistency on offense. And yes, they're shooting the 3 points, they're shooting the from behind the arc better, but the consistency, I think that we saw in times in like the Alabama game or the San Diego State game, they'll have moments in which they can't score the basketball, partially because they're heavily reliant on the 3-point shot with Cryer, with Sharp. But I think that when they can start finding ways to get Jerron Roberts involved in the offense in that mid-post area like we've seen them do tonight, I think that's the next level. Being able to provide an inside-out threat to where they're not so reliant on a three-point shot. Like, yes, you're shooting 42 from the three-point line, but what happens when the shot is not falling from behind the arc? What are you going to do? And I think we found an answer tonight in Jerron Roberts in the mid-post area, being able to play through him.
I think coming into this game, if you had said Emmanuel Sharp had just 2 points, you'd think maybe Houston was in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Because I know we're talking about him in the open. Sharp, Pryor, I mean, those guys are shooting phenomenal from deep, but not every game is going to look like tonight, like what LJ Pryor is doing from behind the arc. They have to figure out ways to score inside the arc.
He's up to 18 points, 4 for 6 tonight from distance. A block down low, Francis. Pryor with 18 points, 6 for 13 shooting, 4 for 6 from 3, and then defensive plays like this.
Just so physical, and Francis, Tugler, Roberts, they're all loading up when you drive.
Ten to shoot for the Cowboys. Jennings flying in for a jam.
Robert Jennings.
Right now, the starters for Oklahoma State only have 13 points combined. Their bench has 25 points. The starters have to be better.
Pryor, that would have been his 5th. He is an elite shooter for Houston. Transferred in prior to last season from Baylor. A foul on this end called on a Cougar. But LJ Cryer, he just always looks in such control. He never looks sped up at any point, and it took him a while to get to 18. He had a quiet start to this game.
I think he just understands who he is. He knows who he is and doesn't try to be anybody different. He is an elite level shooter that is hunting threes. No, that's how he plays the game. That's how he played the game when he was at Baylor. I mean, I had the pleasure of hosting a young man on his visits when he was taking visits, but the young man can shoot the ball. We've had plenty of shooting competitions. If I'm being honest, he's one of the few guys I think that can actually outshoot me.
Well, he's got a quiet 112 threes.
He gets buckets. I mean, in high school, if you watch his high school tapes, same thing. I think he's one of the leads, the state of Texas, or one of the highest scorers in high school basketball.
He had 112 threes last season. That's 3 per game. Here he is on the handle with his team, leading by 19. Gives it up.
I think
7 to shoot.
The most impressive thing, I mean, yeah, he's a great basketball player, but I think he's a great human. He's a great dude. And a lot of guys you can't say that about, but off the floor, he is legitimately really great guy.
Working on his master's degree, got his bachelor's with a 3.8 GPA. Oklahoma State, after a missed 3, bodies on the floor, and a foul called on Houston. It's going to be on Francis, and this will put Oklahoma State at the line in the 1-1. Oklahoma State's season low this season is 65 points. They have 39 with less than 2 minutes to play.
I'm glad that Newman is okay. Francis almost landed on his ankle right there.
Newman's shooting the 1-1 for the Cowboys. Oklahoma State has made just 13 field goals, and they have 14 turnovers. Newman with a team-high 10. And he connects. Next up for Houston, they play BYU on Saturday at home, and Oklahoma State, they hit the road for Morgantown. They play at West Virginia. And you could probably make a case for the Mountaineers being maybe the biggest surprise in the Big 12 this season. They have to be in the conversation, right?
I mean, former Cowboy in Javon Small is just playing at a phenomenal level right now. I want to say he's averaging over 20 points per game. Look at a guy like Tucker DeVries, the coach's son, Darren DeVries. Darren DeVries had a lot of success at Drake. Tucker DeVries will probably play in the NBA at 6'7". Just a really high IQ basketball player that can knock it down from deep consistently. And
Roberts using the offhand puts it in.
West Virginia is going to be a sleeper in the Big 12, for sure.
Roberts with a career high 20 points. Houston commits another foul on this end. That's the second on Arsenault. The foul's really mounting for Houston here in the second half. Just over a minute left. Houston on top 60-41. Jennings at the line for Oklahoma State to shoot two. It's the double bonus for the Cowboys. Houston will clear the bench. Just over a minute to go. Mercy Miller, true freshman from Sherman Oaks, California. And LJ Cryer's night is done. He finishes with 18 points on 4 of 8 shooting from downtown. Does Houston look like a team that can win this league again?
100%. I think it's the same team as last year, just replacing Uzan for Shed. I mean, Shed meant so much, and he was the heart and soul, and he was incredible for this Houston team. But I think as Uzan continues to get more and more comfortable, I think Houston has a great chance to win the league.
Arsenault fires a three that's off the mark under a minute to play here in Stillwater.
Less than 1 minute remaining.
Underneath, Jennings gets loose for another dunk, his second of this half. 15-point Houston lead. This is a new look Oklahoma State team. Brought in a ton of transfers. New coach and Steve Lutz. Miller pulls up, miss. Rebound Oklahoma State with 32 seconds to play. Keller attacks and he's fouled. Houston led 28-18 at halftime. Keller heads to the line for Oklahoma State, one of just 3 players returning from last year's team. But Oklahoma State didn't get any points tonight from Brantley. They got no points from Bryce Thompson. Devo Davis also didn't find the scoring column. Shot clock is off. Houston's going to move to 9-3. They lost their first 2 Big 12 true road games a season ago. This is their first true road game of the year. And they're going to win it by 13 here on the road in Stillwater.
Houston also made a big emphasis in their shoot-around about limiting Usman's touches. They did a tremendous job limiting his touches, not allowing him to have clean looks, get low post position. This is what you want if you're Kelvin Sampson. This is how you execute a game plan.